Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Auto Repair Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Brian Walker, and my co-host, as usual, is Kim. And our guest today is Caroline Legrand, who was just on a few episodes back, but she's back with us again. And if you heard a little nugget that we dropped in one of these last couple of episodes that we did, you won't really wonder why she's here, but I'm just going to leave it at that, because we're going to be talking today about the idea of having a theme for your business during the year. And before we get too far into that, I'd like to thank our friends at Repair Pal for sponsoring this episode. Repair Pal will help you grow your auto business. You can learn more at repairpal.com/shops. Well, hi, Kim and Caroline.
Hey, Brian.
They were laughing, or at least Kim was laughing during the introduction. And I'm surprised I was able to get through that without laughing myself, but I did, and they're still laughing. Kim, why are you laughing?
Well, for multiple reasons, honestly. First of all, you are a hot mess today, y'all. Brian Walker is just, he's a hot mess. He needs to take a nap.
I'm riding the struggle bus, y'all. Look, I had rotator cuff surgery, and to all y'all listening who have had rotator cuff surgery, I'm 3 weeks in right now, and I have not been able to sleep, and last night was horrible. I didn't sleep. So I'm guessing right now what they're laughing about was the fact that I went from this dead person to welcome to the Auto Repair Marketing Podcast, because I turned it on. Okay. Sometimes you just have to do that. I turned it on.
I also appreciate that you pronounced Caroline's last name, I think, perfectly. Is that right, Caroline?
Yeah, but it's funny. I told him that when we recorded the Retention Strategies podcast. He was like, Caroline Legrand. And I was like, I don't even say it that perfectly. So thank you. That's good. But I'm laughing that you said Brian's a hot mess today when like an hour ago he was in Slack calling you a hot mess. So it's just.
And I'm pretty sure that I slacked you, Caroline, earlier today and told you that I was a hot mess. So maybe it's just hot mess day.
And this podcast is starting off to be a hot mess. So let's rank.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine. Well, look, here's what we're talking about. And Caroline, I know we are excited to talk about this. And the funny thing is, it's November 30th when we're recording this. This should not come out until January, because later on, we're going to tell you what our own theme is. And normally it's really, and Brian's making faces, so now I'm kind of stressing out.
I think it might come out in December.
No, it's not. It's not coming out in December. No. There might be a space in December, but this is not coming out. You know what's funny? I'm saying this is not coming out in December. And if it comes out in December, I'm going to have all these people coming at me. Kim, you said it wasn't. Anyways.
It can't come out in December. The launch is in January.
That's what I'm saying.
We're starting on track. Record an extra podcast.
So, y'all, we have a theme. We started that with this 2023. So we have a theme. It's the intention of it really is internal. But this year, our theme was so fun and cool and worked for us that we did take it public. And so we've decided we're going to do that with this one as well. But let me tell you, I don't know what type of person you are, but I am not normally a trendy person. There is a trend, however, that I've adopted for the past maybe 3 years. And only if it really comes to me. I don't like go out seeking it, but that is like having a word for the year. And so one year my word was intention, and so like going into the year with something that just kind of guides and directs you. And so when it comes to, that was her personal. And so when it comes to business, last year we were in our EOS 2-day meeting, which is coming up. So we're going to do it again, even though our implementer doesn't know that we're coming into our meeting with our theme already. We were probably going to do that at the meeting, but we included our team. And so we have this theme. And I'm going to shut up talking about it, and because I will accidentally reveal it. We want to take some time with it. So we're going to transition from a word of the year for a personal use into a theme that we use for our business. So, with that said, Caroline, what would you tell our listeners that they would do with a theme? Like, what does it help you with when it comes to your business?
Yeah, I think how we've used it last year and what we're planning to do what we've done in 2023 and what we're planning to do in 2024 is start with it internally. So talk about what it really means to the team and to each person individually. Ours for 2023 was Slingshot. So it was all about letting things that might pull you back end up shooting you forward, taking that step back to see the bigger picture and launch into bigger and better things. And so for us, it was all about growth here internally as our team. We wanted to slingshot forward. We wanted to go to more conferences, teach more classes, get more clients, meet more people, and do so many more things than we have in past years. And by the time this comes out, our end of the year recap will have already been shared with our social media, email list, all of that. And you will see, we went to Kim and Brian. We, being Kim and Brian, went to a lot of conferences, a lot of classes were taught. Our Facebook group grew a ton. We had a lot of new clients, a lot of new team members, even here in the agency. So we implemented it on the level of the team. Everybody knew what the theme was. Everybody thought about it. We used it in conversations when we were thinking about what goals we had for the year or what we wanted to accomplish. It was, does that work with Slingshot? Does that propel us forward? Does that achieve the goal? So it's a theme, but it's also kind of a goal of what you want to be and what you want to portray to people. And so then on the marketing side, we did some fun campaigns. We used it talking about how you can propel yourself forward in our own messaging and emails and social media, some of our ads even. And then if you were at Vision this year at the Power Luncheon, I think you saw JR, Haley, and Michelle on the stage with a literal slingshotting Shop Marketing Pros t-shirts into the crowd. So took it to a real level, but it tied into our own, how we work, but also thinking we want to slingshot our clients forward. So we don't necessarily share it specifically with clients in that respect, but we applied it to our work, and it ties in. It's like an extra core value. We talk a lot about those, especially Kim and Brian do on the podcast. And it's like the theme of the year is like an additional core value that we focus on and adhere to during that time frame. So it ties into our shield. It has all of those aspects. So it's internal, it's personal, and it's marketing and production focused.
Well, and too, when we were having our 2-day annual last year, just to give a little bit more information on the whole Slingshot theme, one of the things that our EOS implementer introduced to us was the idea of the theme. It is something that that EOS does as well. And we had been talking, and one of the things I said was, basically, so we're a young company. The company's not young, but the specialty in auto repair, even though our roots are completely in auto repair, the specialty in auto repair is young. That really started at the beginning of 2020. So we're new to the industry as a agency that specializes in marketing auto repair shops. And in 2022, I felt like we had kind of come up to the front of the pack. All right. So like using a NASCAR analogy, we're sitting up there in that first 1, 2, 3, position, as far as, and I'm not necessarily talking about revenues or anything, but when people in the industry think about who are the best when it comes to marketing, we were sitting up there in that, first, second, third position, pretty consistently. And I made the comment that we've been, kind of riding here throughout the year, and it's time for us to slingshot into first. Or I didn't actually say slingshot. I said, use the drafting analogy, and we're going to draft and just kind of blow around that first spot. And that's when JR was like, oh, so like slingshot. And that is kind of how that came, because it worked well for, we're going to do the same for our clients as far as slingshotting them past their competition. And so it was a cool theme. And like Caroline said, we got to have a lot of fun with it.
One of the things that I love about it is that it's funny how a theme pulls people together. And so I watched that happen, even though intentionally in 2024, we're going to implement our theme better, right? We've learned some things from how we did it with Slingshot this year, but we're going to use it more often. And, it got, Slingshot was really great when we had all the conferences going on, and then it kind of slowed down and it picked back up. And so I know that we want to utilize it more throughout. That probably would be helpful if I even had it with me. So this is probably a lot better. So, anyways,
so much better.
Yeah. So
Carm is going to kill you, by the way.
For those who are not watching, you don't see that I haven't had my microphone right in front of me the whole time. It's been on the other side of my desk.
They could hear. They could hear.
You can hear it. So suddenly there's this great sound. You're welcome, Carm. So anyways, we're going to implement it more fully this year, but it was neat to see how the team got behind it, right? And really loved how it was fun, and it just gave us something really exciting to do.
We're missing something really important, though, Kim. We can't talk about Slingshot without talking about chicken flickers.
I just remembered those, and I was waiting. I wasn't going to say anything, but I just remembered. I was like, oh, we did chicken flingers too.
Well, it's the Slingshot chicken finger flickers.
Yeah, the little rubber chickens that you stretch, on your finger like a rubber band, and you fling it across the room. Well, there's probably still some stuck to the ceiling in the Overland Park Convention Center.
Well, there's still one stuck to the ceiling in my brand new house.
And it will stay there. It's a conversation piece. It will always remind us of Slingshot.
Yeah, that's true.
Like that when I was a kid, but they weren't chickens. They were like little jelly flowers, and there were so many stuck on the roof or the ceiling of my bedroom. I remember my cousins coming over. We would sling them all over. They had like a little loop for your finger, and then a string, like a jelly string, and then a flower or a butterfly or something at the end. I don't know.
So if anyone doesn't know, they didn't go to Vision. Brian and I were not there, first of all. So when the cat's away, the mice will play, and oh, they did. And so our team was there, and they gave these out at the booth. And apparently people were chicken finger flicking crazy all throughout Vision last year. I had people texting me while Brian and I were gone. They were texting me pictures of where these chicken finger flicker things were sticking. And I was panicking because I'm like, oh my God, Sherry Hamilton is going to kill us. I remember texting her and apologizing and saying, Sherry, just send me the cleaning bill. Like I'm so sorry.
Do not send us the cleaning bill for the Overland Park Convention Center, please.
Thankfully, she didn't, but she was like, are you kidding? It's fun. It's electric energy around here. It's fine. And so, yeah, those were quite a hit for sure. Well, do we want to talk? Let's talk about how we came up with our new theme, because last year we did it during our 2-day offsite EOS meeting. It was just Brian and JR and myself. This year, as you've heard in previous episodes, we had a full day marketing planning session here in the office for 2024. And because we knew that in the 2-day meeting, our implementer is going to ask us what we want our theme to be, we couldn't do that. We couldn't wait and do that when we were talking about our marketing. So thanks to EOS and our annual marketing planning day, we took some time and looked at the goals that we have for next year. And then we kind of listed and brainstormed, because everybody came to the meeting with some ideas and kind of listed them out, threw them all up on a chart paper. But Caroline threw something out, right? Miss Caroline, who came with her idea. Brian, I see you're about to say something.
Well, that's because I remember exactly how this came along now. I was asking them before we started recording. I was like, how exactly did we come up with this again? And Kim was like, well, Caroline said it. And I'm like, yeah, but it came out in the conversation somehow. And they're like, no, she just said it. No, that is wrong. it did come out in the conversation. Caroline already had the word. Okay. She had the word, but there was something in the conversation where, and then she was like, well, that goes along perfect with my theme for the year. And it was JR that was talking. All right. And this is going to sound kind of arrogant. All right. I'm going to say this anyway. But you know how sometimes when you're having conversations and it's just you and your team, you'll say things that you just won't say otherwise. And I'm going to go on and say it on the podcast. But he was saying, he was like, people just like us. They're attracted to us. And then Caroline was like,
let me preface. I said my theme ideas before we got the conversation. Because
okay.
we talked about that during the SWOT analysis, and I thought I told my ideas. I had a couple of them when we did our first introduction, the sections discussing like the messaging team and all of our thoughts and the social media email approach, and then ads went in SEO. And I'm pretty sure we did the SWOT after that, and that was where JR said what he said about people just like us. And I was like, yeah, that's what I just said. People like us for the most part. That
I do recall it that way now that it's being laid out.
And is this, you just get to experience Kim's life, because I remember things the way that I remember things.
Fact. Well, anyway, once you are laying out, brainstorming, listing out all your ideas, one of the things you're going to want to do is also, in EOS fashion, keep, kill, and combine them. So I don't think we had to do this because I'm pretty sure we all pretty much agreed, oh yeah, that's totally the one. But if you don't have one out of all of your words that really stands out, then you may need to go through them and narrow those words down. You may want to put them together because they're similar. Some you might just want to say, no, that's definitely not going to happen. But narrow them down, prioritize them, and pick your word. So that's what we did. You don't have to have a theme.
Those of you who are listening are probably like, are you going to tell us what the word is? And we are. It's just going to take a little bit to get there.
Yeah, we're going to tease you with some interesting facts. Caroline, were you about to say something?
Yes, I was going to add that had we not discussed it before doing our SWOT analysis, the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats with the whole team, that is probably where it would have come from. Like, had we not taken notes from before the meeting and came into it, that's where we would have had words from, probably the strengths or opportunities part of that, to keep, kill, and combine. So for those listening that are like, my team's not just coming up to me with ideas like this, is that looking at that SWOT analysis and figuring out that one of our strengths are that people just like us. They like to talk to us. Things like that would have led us to it. And so if you're not sure where to start, a SWOT analysis could be a great place, and think about what you want more of in your company and your team and your interactions with your service advisors, technicians, customers coming in the shop. That starting with that SWOT analysis is a great place to get some words and ideas out on the board, whatever you're using, and including your core values as well, your own shield. I was going to say your shield.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so are y'all ready to tease people?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So before we tell you what our word is, and it's funny to me that I've mentioned a couple of different people, things like, oh, we have our theme. And I've had 2 people email me and say, can you go ahead and tell me what your theme is? Because I want to utilize it in some, like how they introduce us or something like that. And I was like, no, can't tell you yet. So I may just send people this podcast. Okay. Here's some interesting little nuggets or tidbits of information. And we'll see if any of you, we won't know because you're just listening. But anyways, all right. So I don't even know how to do this. So, all right, I'm going to say one. And I feel like the first 2 things we have listed here, we should say last because people could quickly figure out what that is. One is, it is an undeniable force. It's very strong. So we like that about it.
Another is that it's kind of mysterious. You can Google it. You can learn about them. You might encounter what it can do in your everyday life, especially in a shop. But it's mysterious. There's so many ways that you can use this idea, this term, this physical use of it as well, that it has physical use, that there's still like research not done on it. Even scientists don't really understand it. We were trying to Google things to make sure we were using it properly. And we were like, yeah, I mean, it all fits. So it's very overarching.
All right. It is very strong. And then I think you skip back up to the top here, Kim.
Well, I think you might want to...
Before you go to that next one.
All right. Okay. So one of the things that I really like about it is that it can cause separation. It can push things apart.
But it can also pull them together.
Yes.
And it can
all right,
also
we're getting closer.
Guide you to true north, to be most specific, or guide you in the right direction, like a compass.
Like a compass. All right. Here we go. Might as well. It's time to say it. The theme for Shop Marketing Pros for 2024 is, this is where they're going to insert a drum roll. Should we try to all say it together? 1, 2, 3. Magnetic.
Magnetic.
Oh man,
that was pitiful.
That was pitiful. Maybe we'll.
Right.
It's like during COVID when people tried to sing on Zoom. You know, do you remember that? It doesn't. So magnetic is our theme word.
All right. So this is the Auto Repair Marketing Podcast. We're telling people that they need a theme. How are we going to use this in our marketing?
You go, Caroline.
I'm going to become Taylor Swift, really, and just drop them. Easter eggs everywhere into our own marketing. And so at the end of 2024, whoever can count the most, maybe you'll win a prize. But realistically, what we've done is later that day, we were there when we decided on this theme to plan all of our marketing anyways. We planned out our marketing. We discussed what campaigns we were going to run, when we were going to run them, how they would work, what conferences we're going to, everything, so that that's all planned out. And then the easiest way to incorporate this into your marketing is taking those pieces of it. Like we broke it down, we gave y'all some teasers, but those teasers are also like identifying factors of how they can be used in our marketing. So when we're talking about everything we would normally talk about in our marketing, gaining new customers, attracting the right people, using negative keywords in ads or SEO, making sure you don't attract those people is repelling, not like take what you do want, do more of it, put out content, ads, social media, SEO, whatever it may be, to get more of what you want and repel what you don't want. So it helps bring the right customers to your shop. We want to bring the right clients to our own shop, make fruitful connections in the industry. So bringing people together, repelling, the things that don't quite fit your core values or aren't an ideal client, aren't the cars you want to work on, anything like that. And then this one's a bit more internal, but tying into the marketing still is that on an internal level, we have clients ask our opinion on things a lot, on different softwares, platforms, marketing trends, and even I know Brian and Kim get a lot of like more business consultation level questions as previous shop owners, and as they have great relationships with some of the coaches in this industry, that we do have a lot of an educational aspect of just our regular communication with clients. So kind of leading that guidance, the compass aspect, navigating them to the best things for their shop and helping them decide on those things. But also we have this podcast, we have our blog, we share a lot of content that is educational from our platform. And so with that content as well that we put out, we're sharing that educational aspect. So in the messaging, I'm going to try and sprinkle in some tidbits that tie it back to being magnetic and how that all works. So we will see how it goes. It's I got it all out. It's a lot of it still in my head. So follow our posts and see if you can find them.
And fun fact,
Go ahead, Kim.
I'm even looking at promotional items, which Brian doesn't know about.
I was about to say that.
And I've already started that.
One promotional item.
Yep. And also, I'm looking for ways to utilize it internally as well, whether it's with introducing the theme to our team and just having fun with it and allowing it to work internally. So friends, listen, I know this has been a little different because I don't really know many companies that do this, but we wanted to share it with you because it's a fun thing that you can try implementing into your shop, maybe for your own marketing. So let us know if you have questions. As always, we welcome your questions, your feedback. If you have a topic you'd like for us to put on the podcast or write a blog or teach a class, we want you to send it to us at ask@shopmarketingpros.com or podcast@shopmarketingpros.com. We also want to invite you to join us in our Auto Repair Marketing Mastermind Facebook group. Super proud of that. There's some really awesome conversations happening about auto repair shop marketing in there. So definitely head over to Facebook, do a search, and join us in that group.
Well, hey, Caroline, thank you for being on again. Looks like you're going to become a regular on here. But for those of you who are listening, we appreciate you listening in. We're just one podcast on the Aftermarket Radio Network. You can find all of the others at aftermarketradionetwork.com. Thank you again to our sponsor, RepairPal, for sponsoring this episode. And hope that you'll listen in again next week. Until then, go fill those bays.